It is possible to be told, no, you're not going to do a hair transplant, but the key thing is to understand why. Hello friends, welcome to another video, and today I want to talk to you about why you will be told no to doing a hair transplant, even if you have the money or you have the need to do the hair transplant, but your surgeon feels that it is not the right thing to go for. What are some of the things that you need to look at? What are some of the things your expert will look at to either accept to doing your hair transplant or to say no to doing your hair transplant? And the first thing I want to talk about is stopping the bleeding. When you come into the clinic at Hair Hub, one of the things that we look at is what is causing the hair loss, because that is the beginning point. You're losing hair. We do not know why you're losing hair. You might have an idea why, but first we have to go through the situation, look at it and say, why are we losing hair? And what do we need to do to stop any further hair loss? That is the starting point. What are the key things top of mind that you need to look at? First of all, there is the diagnosis, where if you're going through male pattern baldness or you're going through female pattern hair loss, this is an ongoing situation. This is not a static cosmetic issue. It is a situation that will continue to happen if it is a genetic form of hair loss. And one thing that you must discuss with your expert, person looking at your hair loss, is what do I do to make sure even if I do a transplant on a particular area, that then we will continue to manage the native hair and make sure that we do not continue to experience hair loss. Number two is getting a biopsy to understand. If you're looking at the vertex area and there are patches of hair loss or there is progressive hair loss, and it is not in keeping with a genetic form of hair loss where DHT or DHEAS in women is involved, then you'd want to establish, do you have a scarring form of hair loss ongoing? We have things like CCCA, we have things like lichen planopilaris, we have things like frontal fibrosing. And in that situation, if those are some of the things that are happening to the scalp, then doing a hair transplant will be futile if the scarring problem is not managed and complete, or it is completely burnt out. The second thing that I would be keen to look at is the donor area. Do you have a sufficient donor area to donate hair to the area of demand? Because when you're looking at hair transplantation, basically you're looking at demand versus supply. The donor area, we use a densitometer to look at. If you have 60 to 80 follicular unit per square centimeter, then we are rich, we have capital. If you have 40 and below follicular units per square centimeter, then we are broke and we cannot start engaging on that. We need to do a hair transplant. That means that you do not have sufficient hair follicles really to be harvested to give you a proper density that will look natural once you've done the hair transplant. The number three thing that we look at is the recipient site. And the two things that are very critical is, number one, the blood supply. You want to ensure that your recipient site has enough blood supply. We've worked on patients who came in with scars and you want to cover a scar area. We look at it, does it have enough blood supply or it doesn't have enough blood supply? Because if you graft hair follicles from the donor area to a recipient site that does not have enough blood supply, you will end up having suboptimal results, and your yield will not be impressive at the end of the day. Then the other thing is the greed factor. Some patients walk into the clinic and they really come with photos, or they say, I want my hair to look like yours, yet their donor area cannot supply the number of grafts that they are looking at. Or sometimes someone walks in and you tell them you need 2,000 grafts and this is what we charge for 2,000 grafts. And they say, why don't you do 2,700 grafts and I'm willing to pay for it. So if your donor area can only give you 4,000 or 5,000 grafts, and you're at Norwood 6 or Norwood 7 for men who are balding, then Norwood 6 would demand 6 to around 8,000 grafts. So if your donor area can only supply 5,000 grafts, then we need to start asking ourselves, do we really start engaging in a situation where we will have suboptimal results? The number four thing that we consider is medical comorbidities. And first thing is uncontrolled diabetes, because if you have uncontrolled diabetes, then we'll have poor wound healing. Number two, we look at hypertension. If you have high levels of blood pressure and it's uncontrolled, of course, that is risky for hematoma. So those are some of the things that we look at. We look at deficiencies. Do you have enough vitamin D? Do you have enough ferritin? Do you have enough serum iron? Because those are minerals that then would support optimum performance of the hair follicles. If these things are not in place, it is important that we put them in place. And I've had very many patients walk in and say, Muli, look, I know I am hypertensive, but I do not want to take medication. I want to manage it through lifestyle. And they are not doing enough really to get it under control. We will not risk patients' health. We will not risk our practice. You must really get things in control if you really want to have a successful hair transplant. Then lastly, and this is a rare situation, and it's something that I'm sure many people will not be looking at, is something that we call DUPA, which is donor dominance progressive hair loss, or what we call retrograde hair loss. Retrograde hair loss is a form of male pattern baldness or female pattern thinning that starts at the donor area, and this then would mean that the follicles at the back area, they are not safe. So we cannot harvest them, because when you're doing hair transplant, you want to harvest follicles from a safe zone. And safe zone means that the follicles are resistant to male pattern baldness, they are resistant to female pattern thinning. So when you harvest them, they move with what we call donor dominance characteristics. So as you transfer them to the recipient site, you should be able to get optimum performance of those hair follicles. And even if the rest of the hair continues to shed, that is if you are going through genetic hair loss, then you will not be worried about that. So the last thing is, when you have young men and young ladies who are going through female pattern hair loss, or young men going through male pattern baldness, the first discussion we will have is, if we are going to do hair transplant, you must understand that you need medical interventions, or you need to do things like your PRPs. You need things like Loniten, which is medication that is taken to make sure that the hair loss on the native hair strands does not continue to happen. Because it doesn't make sense for you to do a hair transplant on the forelock or on your hairline, have a perfect hairline, then you have a storm going on the rest of the scalp where you continue losing hair. So yes, it's a balance, it's tricky, but these are some of the things why your trichologist or your hair doctor will quickly tell you, no, we cannot do a hair transplant, if they care about you. And at Hair Hub, one of the things we care about is the long term of the results. It's not the quick fixes. So if you come in and we tell you no, we will explain why, but it is possible to be told no, you're not going to do a hair transplant. But the key thing is to understand why. And remember, I want to give you this in bullet point. Remember, the first important thing is to do a diagnosis where you look at, is it just a genetic issue, or do you have a scarring problem? And you can check this video I've done in the past, where I've spoken about diagnoses and given differences of scarring, forms of hair loss, and other conditions that might actually look the same. Yeah, so then the second thing would be the donor area. Do you have a sufficient supply? Do you have capital to make sure that you can then support the recipient site? Then the other thing is the recipient area. What is causing the hair loss? Is it a scarring problem? Does it have enough blood supply? Whatever number of grafts you have at the donor area, are they sufficient to give you a fantastic natural looking recipient area, ensuring that the donor area is not depleted? Then you look at your medical general health or medical comorbidities. Make sure that if you're hypertensive, that is managed. Make sure you have diabetes, it is managed for the healing of the wounds. Then lastly, it's about other special aspects, like people start balding at the back, a condition that we call retrograde hair loss. Then that means that you do not have a safe zone where we can safely harvest hair follicles and transplant them, because even if we transplant them, it means that they do not have the characteristics to be resistant to hormones like I.A.T. Hence, the hair loss will continue. So keep it here. My name is Muli Musyoka. I'm the lead trichologist at Hair Hub Trichology Center, and I'm happy to continue sharing this information with you. Please remember to subscribe so that we can continue sharing more and more information that would be of benefit to you.